Senior Moments, sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Senior Moment Show. My name is Bryce Patton, here with the wonderful Sid Roeder. Sid, how are you today?
I'm always fabulous when you call me wonderful or any other beautiful thing.
Wow. Dill. I'm glad that's all I have to do.
Yeah.
You know,
works
make
every
your
time.
Day. Well, good. Well, I don't know. I don't know what it was, if I just didn't sleep last night or what's going on. I'm a little tired, but we're here.
We are here.
Happy.
And we have an interesting guest today.
Yes, we do. So before we introduce our guest, would you mind telling us about our sponsor, and then we can dive into our show?
As always, I love to talk about our sponsor, which is the Empowering Seniors Group, a group of professionals that has dedicated their time and effort to provide information to seniors, their family members, and all the wonderful people that listen to us every Saturday. And actually, our guest today is a member of the Empowering Seniors Group. If you'd like to learn more about them, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info. You can email us at empoweringseniorscv@gmail.com, and the CV stands for Cache Valley. And lastly, if you have any suggestions for the show, anyone you would like to see us invite, you can call me personally at 435-512-6406.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that. Well, welcome. We have Melanie Christie, the family care counselor at White Pine Funeral Home, with us today. Welcome, Melanie.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Now, we were talking before. I hadn't met you before this morning, but can you kind of tell us how you got into this and kind of what is your role as a family care counselor there at White Pine?
Yeah, absolutely. So several years back, my husband was laid off, and he was having a hard time finding a new job, and I felt like I needed to help bring some income into the home. We still had 5 kids at home, and I just saw an ad for a pre-need counselor helping people learn how to be ready for their final needs. And I accepted that job, and it's kind of evolved into me being a family care counselor, which is I help people before someone passes so that they know what documents they need to have ready, choices that they need to make, and discuss funding options. And then I also help after someone has passed with things like Social Security, insurance, bank accounts, auto titles, a whole list of things. So I'm the before and after someone has passed.
Yeah, that actually brings me to my first question, because I know that there is always a lot of bureaucratic things going on. So do you hand people a list and walk them through about all the things they should be thinking about? How does that work?
Before the funeral or after the funeral?
Well, kind of both.
Well, before a funeral, we kind of talk about, everybody's situation is a little bit different, and I talk about what their needs are, what's going on in their family dynamic, and then I help them to be prepared. So if they have auto titles and the titles are just in that person's name and they feel like they need to be a little more prepared in case something should happen, they would have to wait 30 days before they could change that title over into their name. And so, just little tidbits like that to help them out.
Okay, so when do you usually start seeing that planning process with the funeral? Is it once their loved one passes away, they just come in and say, hey, let's get started? Or do people start pre-planning with you and say, hey, I know the end is inevitable. Can I get things set up? What does that kind of look like?
Yeah, it's different for every person. Last month I met with 2 people that were in their 20s. And they just felt really impressed that one young lady she'd never married, and she didn't plan on marrying. And so she wanted to make sure that she was prepared in every aspect of her life, so her family didn't have to have that burden. And the other gentleman he's on hospice. And so you never know when that's going to be needed. And so I was there to help his wife with all those hard and tough decisions that need to be made.
Wow.
Yeah, that is really wonderful. So one thing that we talked about before the show is that even though you are at White Pine Funeral Home, you can help anyone in the valley. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. all of the funeral homes in the valley are owned by the Allen family, and what they purchased White Pine last year, in September of last year. And they did a really smart thing. And what they did is they allowed us to continue doing the services that we do, which is a little bit different than all of the other funeral homes in the valley. So I feel like we give a very high level of care to our family members that we're helping before and after.
Wow. So what is the difference with that level of care? What does it look like as far as what differentiates you than if somebody goes either here in the valley or maybe even outside of the valley?
Yeah, I have actually worked for 4 different funeral homes, White Pine being the 4th, and just seeing how they help out their families. One of the first things that the funeral directors do is they give their families they're helping their cell phone number so that they can call them, and they tell them, you can call me any time of night or day, so that any issue that they have that they're concerned about, that concern is taken away as quickly as possible. And then the aftercare that I do, that's another aspect of our services, is that face-to-face aftercare, where I will sit down at the family's kitchen table and help them with a list of about 20 things. Credit bureaus, I did mention auto titles, nationwide life insurance search. I will help them with that nationwide life insurance search in case they don't know what, if there is any insurance available. Pensions, bank accounts, utilities. There's just, like I say, a list of about 20 things I go through.
Yeah, that's great. So what are some of the surprises that people have typically? What are people most surprised about when you talk to them about the aftercare?
One of the biggest things that I find that people are surprised about is auto insurance. And there are some auto insurance companies out there that if you remove your spouse from the policies and it changes your status to single, your rates go up. So there are some insurance companies that will allow you to keep a deceased person on your policies so you don't have that option, that problem.
Wow. That's great. We're already coming up here on our first break, Melanie, so I want to give you an opportunity to mention your contact information in case somebody would like to talk with you.
Absolutely. So White Pine Funeral Services office number is 435-709-6800. That's where my office is, and most people call and make an appointment. I can meet them at their home, or I can meet them at the funeral home.
Perfect. This is the Senior Moment Show. Again, I'd like to mention our sponsor, which is the Empowering Seniors Group. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info, or you can email us at empoweringseniorscv@gmail.com, and the CV stands for Cache Valley. Again, this is the Senior Moment Show. We're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Need a helping hand? The Bear River Association of Governments, also known as BRAG, is here for you.
They assist seniors with in-home services, provide utility bill relief through the HEAT program, and offer rental assistance to keep you housed.
Need help with tax prep? Their experts ensure you get the refund you deserve. And for veterans, they're here to connect you with the benefits you've earned.
BRAG is your local resource for a stronger today and a more secure future. Call today or visit brag.utah.gov.
This is Mark Thurston with White Pine Funeral Services. The best time to plan is when you have time to plan. Having a prearranged funeral gives peace of mind for everyone involved. White Pine will customize your final wishes to fit your needs, from a traditional burial to cremation to a custom headstone. White Pine also accepts prearranged plans from other mortuaries, and we will absorb any transfer or revocation fees. No penalty to you. Visit whitepinefunerals.com or come and see us for more information.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
Getting around your home should be easy and safe. At RT Med Mobile, they provide wheelchairs, stair lifts, ramps, and electric lift chairs to help seniors maintain independence and comfort. Their friendly team offers free in-home consultations to find the perfect solution for you or your loved one. Locally owned and here to help. Call 435-260-6171 today. RT Med Mobile, because your mobility matters.
This is Scott with Cache Valley Pharmacy. Are you struggling to find affordable GLP-1 medications? Cache Valley Pharmacy has you covered. We're now compounding GLP-1s like semaglutide and tirzepatide personally formulated for you, and every batch is tested for quality and sterility. Have your prescriptions transferred today and let Cache Valley Pharmacy help you with your personalized weight loss journey. Cache Valley Pharmacy, keeping it local, online at cachevalleypharmacy.com.
Hi, this is Bruce with Comfort Care. One of the ways we help loved ones stay in their home is by assisting with daily tasks. These may include bathing, meal preparation, medication reminders, and housekeeping. We even help with shopping, transportation, and errands. Most of all, we offer a trusted level of care. Let us help you live your best life possible with Comfort Care. This is Bruce, and you can call me at 754-7676. Comfort Care, 754-7676.
And welcome back to the Senior Moment Show. My name is Bryce Patton here with Sid Roeder, and we have been interviewing Melanie Christie, who is our guest today. She is the family care counselor, at White Pine Funeral Home, and she's been telling us all these things about funerals and kind of the process of that. And what your role is helping people navigate that. We were just talking over the break before. You talked about how different auto insurances can leave someone on or take it off and the rates go up, and you can help people manage that. What other type of things do you see that you really help people out with?
Well, for one thing, Social Security. A lot of people don't know now that Social Security has been completely automated, and if the doctor's name is in the electronic death entry network, then that is done automatically. We're the ones that start the death certificate process. And then we send that, when we're done, we send it to the doctor. He does his portion. He sends it back to us. Our funeral director signs it, and then it goes to the health department. During that process, Social Security is notified.
So how many, because I know that you issue not just one death certificate, but there's copies of it or something for different instances. What's a typical amount of death certificates that you hand out to people, and what are the typical places all these need to go?
Yeah, when I first started doing this 15 years ago, the average death certificates was between 10 and 15. Now it's more like 6 to 8. Because a lot of them will accept copies now, and you can either scan and fax them in, or make copies or send copies. So,
that's fantastic. So, along with this, so there's the Social Security aspect, but what about people's bank accounts? What about different insurances that they might have? How does that affect when someone passes away and they might have a joint account, or how does that look?
Yeah, so if a spouse passes away and they do have a joint account, the surviving spouse just needs to take a death certificate into the local branch, sit down with an account manager, and they're going to know best how to proceed from here on out. Every bank has different rules and regulations. I can't keep track of what they are, but they normally just like to see an original. They'll make a copy and give it back, and then they can decide how they want to proceed with their finances after that.
And how does that work with real estate? Because I know that the county typically gets to record a death certificate also.
That's correct. And a lot of people, when I meet with them before someone passes, I ask, do you have a will? Do you have a trust? And we talk about the differences between a will and a trust. And a lot of people aren't aware of exactly what those are. And I will, I'll give them the information, and they can decide what's going to be best for their situation. My personal recommendation is a trust if you have any assets at all. If you have a home, you need a trust. Without one, it would have to go through probate, and it's just a nightmare. I had one lady that I met with, and her parents passed away, and she was the executor, but it was just a will, and they had to go through probate. And because they had two homes, in property in Idaho and a lot of other things going on, it took over 6 months for that probate to be completed. And during that time, she was paying all of those bills for the utilities and the property and everything, and it was really difficult for her. So having a trust and having an executor over the estate, my father passed away, and I had to put my mother into a skilled nursing memory care, and to be able to take care of her, I had to sell her home. And so I had power of attorney, and that's done when you do a trust as well, and was able to just give the realtor the paperwork, and I was able to sell her home and take care of her as needed.
Oh, that's fantastic. So we talked a little bit about this earlier about at what age people come talk to you. You said you had some 20-year-olds, but is there a general time frame that would help alleviate this if that people come in and talk to you and make a game plan?
Yeah, usually about the time people retire, they start thinking about that. Or if they have money sitting in an account and they're adjusting finances for one reason or another. Some people have money waiting in an account, waiting for the day it's needed for their funeral.
Can people come in and prepay for their funeral?
Absolutely.
Can they come in and take care of the whole thing prior so their kids don't have to worry about it?
Absolutely. That's my favorite part of the job is helping people, educate them about the benefits of pre-planning. And one of the first things it does is it guarantees all the professional services, casket, vault, urn, for life. So their family doesn't have to worry about those rising costs ever. Now, we can't guarantee things like flowers or obituaries or death certificates, but the majority of the cost of that funeral can be guaranteed for life. Another asset is it makes it so it's not an asset to Medicaid. And some people have to have the assistance of Medicaid because their final care is, my mother, I was paying over $7,000 a month for her care. And if I had to go to the next level of care, it would have been over $9,000. So having those funds to take care of her was very important, very critical for me.
Yeah, and you mentioned before, and I can't remember if that was something we talked about in the break or if we had that in the last segment. We talked about bank accounts and having maybe a family member be on there, or if there's a will that everything gets frozen. What are some of the ways to avoid the account being frozen?
Yeah, if a family member has an account only in their name, then if they pass away, that account is frozen for 30 days. So the time that they might need that money to pay for a funeral, it's not available. So having someone listed as a joint account joint on the account, or even a beneficiary doesn't help because that will still be frozen for 30 days.
And so you're able to plan around that so that they might be able to get
correct.
the funds that they need to. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we're already coming up here on our second break again. Melanie, I want to give you another chance to maybe also mention the location of White Pine Funeral Home and the phone number where somebody could reach you.
Yeah, my cell phone is 435-230-3836. I always answer my phone unless I'm with a family. And we are located at 753 South, 100 East in Logan, right on the edge of Providence. And we are open from 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday.
And walk-ins are okay, or do you prefer appointments?
They are okay, but we do have times when we are very busy and we want to make sure we help everyone that wants it. And so calling and getting an appointment either from the office number or my cell is very beneficial for their time frame.
Thank you, Melanie. This is the Senior Moments Show. Again, we are sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors Group, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info or email us at empoweringseniorscv@gmail.com, and the CV stand for Cache Valley. We're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's tough knowing how to care for an aging parent. Mom has always been there for me, but now I need to be there for her. When we found out she needed surgery, I wondered how I could attend to her needs and still be mom to my kids. I was so relieved to learn about transitional rehab at Maple Springs in North Logan. From the nurses to the physical therapists, it was like their whole staff was focused on helping Mom get better. Maple Springs in North Logan was an answer to my prayers.
Learn more at maplespringsnorthlogan.com or call 753-9400.
Hi, this is Tyler. Recently, my father passed away, and White Pine provided the funeral services for our family. They were friendly, thoughtful, and attentive to every detail. You know, it isn't often that a loved one passes away, so it was very important to my family that everything be handled just right. Because my dad was loved by so many people, we had a lot of family and friends that traveled from out of town. I really appreciate how White Pine Funeral Services made sure everyone was comfortable and that the focus was where it needed to be, on my dad and my family. They really took care of us during this tender time.
White Pine Funeral Services, here
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
No problem, sweetie.
I can't believe you're able to fit everything in that little sedan.
Bye!
When they move out, you can move on to a house that fits your life. It's time to live in a space that fits your family.
Hi, this is Sid Roeder with Achievement Realty.
Let me help you to find a home that suits your needs and is less to take care of. Save money or even make money on the sale of your current home. Call me today at 512-6406, then list it, sell it, and move on.
Are you tired of feeling unwell and not knowing why? At Next Level Health and Wellness, we hear you. We specialize in uncovering the root causes of your discomfort, whether it's gut health, hormone imbalances, or emotional and mental blocks. With personalized plans, advanced lab testing, and evidence-based holistic nutrition practices, we guide you toward lasting health and wholeness. Awaken your healing potential with a team that listens, understands, and supports you wherever you are. Visit nextlevelhw.com to start your journey to feeling better today.
Did you know 1 in 3 people will visit a nursing home? Did you know that once there, they will stay there for an average of 3 years? Did you also know there are insurance options that can help cover this experience? Hi, I'm Tracy Ferris with Blue Water Health Insurance. It's not cheap to stay in a full-fledged nursing home. Long-term care insurance can help you or a loved one get the care they need and deserve. If you wait until you need it, you may be too late. Give me a call at 435-890-8155.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the Senior Moment Show. My name is Bryce Patton, here with Sid Roeder, and we've actually been talking with Melanie Christie over at White Pine Funeral Services about all things funeral and how to plan and, you know, all the ins and outs about that. And there's a lot more that goes into it, and that's where you come in. You get to help out. But one of the things we were talking about over the break that you do that other people don't do as much is you have classes to educate the community on that. Can you kind of tell us about that program and what kind of things you guys share with people?
Absolutely. I've been called by pastors and bishops, and they're saying, you know, I'm helping a lot of families with this final needs stuff, and I don't know what I'm doing. And it's really hard to do when they're grieving. And is there anything that you can do to help them to be more prepared so I don't have to help them when they're, because I'm not a professional. I don't know what I'm doing. So I have several classes that I do. One of them is called Peace of Mind, and that's how to be prepared for your funeral needs, the documents needed to be prepared, and all the information and choices so that when you're fully cognizant and not in a stressed situation, that you can make better decisions.
So, real quick question here are these classes something you charge for, or are they free for anyone to attend?
They are free for anyone to attend. I'm doing one in 2 weeks at one of the local churches. And
how often do you do these? I want to dive into the other ones that you have going on, but how often are you doing these kind of classes?
I have one I've done 2 this month so far, and I have several already on my calendar throughout the rest of the year.
Okay, where can people go real quick? I want to revisit this as well, but where can people go to find those if they're interested?
Great question. Pioneer Valley Lodge. I do monthly classes there. I just did one on good grief. And the next one I'll be doing is about monuments, headstones.
Okay, so are those the other 2 that you have, or do you have more that you...
I do. I have monuments. That's how to select a monument. There's different densities of granite. When I started this, I did not know that rocks would absorb water. And granite is one of those stones that you can get in different thicknesses and densities. And the light gray is the softest granite. It's the least expensive. It's also the easiest to engrave because it is softer. It's found all over the world, so it's the least expensive option. And I was actually at the facility where they engrave these on a day, and it was pouring rain. And he says, look out at every stone in the yard. And the light gray, where the monument and the foundation meet, moisture had wicked up into that granite monument about 1.5 inches. You could see the line where that water had absorbed into the granite. All the other colors, it had only absorbed about 1/4 inch into the granite stone. So
that just makes me curious. Is that a problem then during wintertime when it freezes?
It can be
breaks?
over time. Oh. Another class I do is an emergency book, so that they have someplace. I provide all the the paperwork for keeping your records and personal information in a safe place so that if something should happen, your family has all that information, or you. My daughter had just had twins, and I was helping take care of her and the kids, and I was in the nursery, and I look out, and there's huge flames in the distance, and I said, Jennifer, I think there's a problem we need to be worried about, and somebody pounded on the door and said, there's possibly going to be an explosion, and you need to evacuate your home. And here we are with 2 newborn twins and kids, and had to get them all in a minivan and get out. And she said, what do I need to take? And so I started labeling off, and they were scattered all over the house. This emergency book is a place where you can have copies of everything that's important in one place so that your family has access to it and you have access to it if you ever need to. The last class I did, I already mentioned, is the Good Grief class. And I help people to know what to do when someone's grieving, the do's and the don'ts. And there's so many words that can be hurtful when you're trying to be helpful. So we talk about those.
And how long do each of these classes last when you're teaching them?
Depends on how many people attend and how many questions there are, but they can be anywhere between 20 minutes and 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
So if somebody's just interested in maybe just getting the emergency book or what needs to go in there, can they call you at White Pine and just get that list to get prepared, or do they have to attend the class?
That's a great question. I have had some people that need the emergency book right away, and I do provide that for them.
Again, okay, so again, where can they find, if I wanted to know where or how to get that emergency book or attend one of these classes, where can I find that information?
Just call White Pine at 435-709-6800.
That is great. We are almost at the end of our show, and we've already had the location there. Bryce, do you have any last questions that you want to get answered?
I think the biggest takeaway from this that for me is call now and actually prepare, because there's just so many things that we've gone over that I hadn't thought about at all, especially the afterwards, all the wrapping everything up where she can help out with that.
I think wise words. And one little last question from me. If somebody wanted to host a class like that, would that be a possibility?
Absolutely.
Okay, super. Well, thanks for coming in, Melanie.
Well, thank you for having me.
I think we both learned a lot, and we know what's on the to-do list now. This is the Senior Moments Show. We hope you enjoyed this show, and tune in again next week.